How can it be legal for tens of thousands of people to get together and protest while struggling industries are still bound by strict rules? It's a hot topic, and some hospitality businesses are now planning to defy restrictions.
Thousands of people around the country breaching social distancing rules to fight for civil rights. The Black Lives Matter movement reverberating around the world. A precedent, according to Navara Venues, who hit back with this.
With the government okaying to all of this, but leaving our industry sort of closed, is something that I don't understand. So effective immediately, or effective not immediately, as of the 1st or the 6th or the 5th of July, details will come out tomorrow. We are reopening, and we are reopening to any numbers. Yes, we will be putting in social distancing.
A rebellion of their own.
But today is just about telling you all that we will be reopening because we just cannot deal, we don't want to deal with upset brides or upset clients anymore because it's not fair on them.
That's Sal Navara in the Instagram video, the company's CEO, who we spoke with 2 weeks ago.
What's your message to the couples?
Look, honestly, I'd love to do your wedding. I actually do want to do your wedding or do a function for you one day.
We've just seen in the last...
His brother John did the talking at Navara HQ today.
What was the aim of the Instagram post?
The aim is we just want to open up. After what we saw with the demonstrations over the weekend, what's been happening over the last month, where a lot of restaurants and supermarkets and schools and shopping centres and everyone seems to be gathering together, and we feel that our industry is being discriminated against.
So you're happy to break the law if it comes to it?
No, we're actually doing events based on the correction to social distancing.
Which is a wedding of 20 people?
Whatever the capacity the government allows us to do, and more.
But the message from Sal Navara yesterday was the weddings will be any number.
Any number based on the guidelines of the 1.5 distancing between every table. We can do any number that the guests would like. We're happy to do any guests if they like.
The venue argues it has plenty of room and guests can spread out.
What if police come and shut down the wedding because it's not meeting guidelines? That would be heartbreaking for a couple.
This was a condition that we're going to speak to the bride prior to the event. That's a risk that we're going to might have to take.
And you still haven't answered my question about what the maximum number is that you'd be happy to take on in July.
Whatever maximum is required to be in the safe, providing we work with the safe social distancing guidelines of the corona.
The video announcement praised by some supporters who said why should venues continue to be punished, but also panned. One follower accusing the company of forcing clients to cancel to avoid refunds.
What I'll say is simply this. The measures are there for a reason, to protect the public, to protect us all as a community. Numbers in excess of what's recommended will put not only the people who are attending those venues at risk, but it will also put other members of the public at risk should they fall and contract COVID-19.
AMA National President Dr. Tony Bartoni.
It may be distant memory, but only a matter of months ago, we had an example of what can go wrong at a wedding with one person infectious of COVID-19. 37 people came down with an infection from that one event. Weddings are a time of joy, of happiness, of celebration, of hugging, of really being very close with those that you know and you frequent. This is not the environment to have a gathering of certainly of 200 or 300 people.
In New South Wales, weddings can have 20 guests. It's the same limit in the ACT. Queensland is currently capped at 20, but on July 10 it will go up to 100 guests. WA weddings can have 100 guests, 40 in Tasmania. In South Australia, it's up to 80 in a spacious venue if guests are spread over multiple rooms. It's unlimited in the Northern Territory.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore.
Remembering the good life before COVID. Gold Coast restaurant Costa Doro is on the same bandwagon. If protesters can do it, why can't we?
Our restaurant and other restaurant venues that I know of have been so strict with the regulations and abiding by the rules and doing all the right thing that when we saw so many people on the streets, I was just horrified. I could not believe that was allowed to go on.
Nucha Fusco says her restaurant can usually seat 150 people, but now only a third of that.
Something drastic needs to be done. We can't afford to be slapped with a fine, and we can't afford to do the wrong thing. I don't want to be seen as doing the wrong thing by anybody. However, more restaurants and more cafes and club owners need to speak out.
Much of the event industry shares the same frustration as Navara venues, but isn't lobbying so publicly, offering up practical solutions to health authorities to get their businesses back in the game.
It would include things like 2 wedding cakes, one to cut and one that would be served from the kitchen. It's things like reducing the buffet service.
Wes Lambert is from the Restaurant and Catering Industry Association.
Ultimately, venues that venture out of the current regulations could face fines and penalties, and certainly this is a risk for anyone who books with a venue outside of the regulations.
Police paid Navara venues a visit today. A reminder, breaking COVID limits is breaking the law.
What do you have to say to the criticism that you're putting a bride in an awkward position, telling them that they're all going ahead, but it might be illegal?
It's a bride group's choice if they want to proceed with it. We're more than happy to open up, but they have to open up based on the guidelines of the social distancing.
Let's all be patient, let's all be vigilant, let's all follow the advice.
Police told us they'll work with that Navara venue to ensure compliance with COVID-19 restrictions. And it seems many of you are siding with those businesses and their push to allow more customers. Our Facebook poll is sitting at 78% in favour of loosening restrictions and 22% against.